If you've ever started a healthy routine feeling motivated and super excited that you're going to do this new routine, you have this new habit, you have this goal that you're going to reach, only to fall off a few weeks later and wonder, what's wrong? Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? Why can't I just stay consistent with this? This episode is for you because today we are talking about consistency over perfection, something that I talk a lot about, and I really want to dive into that today. And we're also going to talk about why habits feel so hard for moms and how to build routines that actually last without pressure, without guilt, and without the burnout. Enjoy today's episode. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you've lost yourself in the postpartum chaos? Whether you're 4 weeks postpartum, 2 years in, or done having babies, you deserve to feel like yourself again. Hey mama, I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, postpartum fitness coach, and a mama who understands exactly what you're going through. Welcome to the Strong Nourished Momma Podcast, where you'll find simple, science-backed strategies to heal your core, rebuild strength, and restore your energy without the overwhelm. If you're ready to go from depleted to strong, nourished, and unstoppable, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Strong and Nourished Momma Podcast. I'm your host, Val Warner. I'm a sports dietitian and a strength coach for moms. And this show is all about helping you feel strong, nourished, and energized throughout your motherhood journey and in ways that are actually realistic and sustainable as a mom. If you've been enjoying the podcast or learning something new from these episodes, it would mean so much to me if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share an episode with another mom. This is how the show continues to grow and get into the hands of mamas who need this support. And if you're listening and thinking, I'm so ready for more support, my 8-week group coaching program, the Strong, Nourished, and Energized Mom Method, is starting this month. And I am so excited to be opening up this program again to be able to have moms join and have the support, because this program is for moms who want guidance, structure, encouragement without this extra pressure to be perfect or to do more than their body is ready for. One past participant has shared that this program provided a safe and welcoming space, which allowed her to not only get back into fitness basics with her new postpartum body, which you all understand that after you have a baby, it's a whole new identity and your body is totally different. And it's a lot to navigate physically, mentally, and emotionally. And she said, but to connect with other women who are going through the same journey as me, that's what I needed. Val is amazing at accommodating every body wherever they are in their pregnant, postpartum, or fitness journey throughout motherhood. I love the flexibility of this program and the fact that it was virtual. I could do this from home. I could join the calls from home and all of the weekly resources. This program is a great opportunity to learn, connect, and embrace with your body, your fitness journey, and be able to gain that strength postpartum. So that's from a past participant, and you can learn more about the program. Go to the show notes. The link is there. You can go to wellnessbyval.com/program to get all of the information as well as what we talk about week by week. All right, let's get back into today's episode. If you have struggled to stay consistent with nutrition, movement, self-care, or any of that, you stay consistent with what's good for you. It's not because this lack of discipline. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you suck. I see this all the times with moms. You start off with a good intention. You make a plan. You're motivated. You're so excited. And then life happens. Sleep gets disrupted. The kids get sick. You get sick. And then it's like that vicious cycle of everyone gets sick like a million times, it feels like. Work gets super busy. The days are so long. And suddenly the habit that you started, that you were motivated about, and that you had this plan, it falls apart, which usually then leads to guilt. It leads to frustration and the thought of, why can't I ever stick with anything? Why can't I stick with something just once? Why can't I stick with it more than 2 weeks or more than a month? I want this to be a habit and a lifestyle. But I want you to know, mama, that the problem isn't you. The problem is that most health advice isn't designed for motherhood. It's not. Following someone on TikTok and Instagram who isn't living it with a full-time job, kids, and all of the responsibilities, we can't live that same lifestyle as them. They're totally different things. We have to be able to create habits and systems and routines that support us and help us stay consistent with what we want, that actually work for our life. I remember when I was getting back to work after maternity leave. It was time to go back to work. It was at the beginning of 2024. And I was thinking, okay, I got to get back into a new routine because maternity leave is totally different than going to work and then now with a baby. So I wanted to get back into a routine. I wanted to move my body again. I was able to exercise and progress throughout the time I was off work. But I was going to the gym in the middle of the day, and the gym that I went to, I was able to take my baby with me. And so what is that going to look like now that I have to go to work and have a baby and do all the other things that I'm doing? I wanted to feel like myself, but honestly, it was super overwhelming. Like you guys know this, going back to work is super overwhelming. And after having a baby, because all the things that you have to do and all the things that you have to balance. And I kept thinking, how am I supposed to fit this in? When am I going to have time to fit this in? Is this even realistic right now? Because it's a totally different routine. Everything felt so hard, and it felt like it had to be this all or nothing. But instead of trying to do everything at once, I started very slow. I didn't jump into this strict routine plus adding work back into it because that would be super overwhelming. What I focused on was just showing up, even if it looked different than before. So what ended up working out for me really well was the early morning sessions, whether it was hopping on the Peloton bike, doing something in the living room, or heading to the gym that's less than 5 minutes away from my house. That time became me time. It was time for me to be able to focus on myself, to move my body, to do what felt good. It was quiet. It was uninterrupted before anyone else woke up. And because I attached it to my workday routine, like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to pump, I'm going to have a snack, and then I'm going to move my body. And then I'm going to come home, get my daughter ready, drop her off, and then go to work. Because it became a part of my workday routine, it started to become automatic. Like, this is just what I do on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It wasn't something that I had to negotiate with myself every single day. That's exhausting. We don't want that. We want it to become so consistent that it clicks and that it's so easy. And you're like, okay, this is just what I do. And so that's what worked for me. That's just an example of how consistency really supported something that was for me, because it's not just about the workout session. Yes, that's important. That's my therapy. I wanted to get back into moving my body and building strength, but it was also time for myself. So even if I did a really short workout session and focused more on stretching, or was able to catch up on something on my phone, or just have time to myself, that is what was really, really great. And then I was able to integrate it into my routine. So it was seamless and it was super easy. So there's a mindset shift that I want you to take away from today. Consistency does not mean doing something perfectly or doing it every single day. That's not what consistency is. Real consistency looks like showing up imperfectly, adjusting when life changes. That's probably the hardest, adjusting when life changes and still staying consistent with the routine or the habit that you're trying to build. Returning after a break without guilt. Like, okay, I was sick for a week, 2 weeks, everyone was sick. I wasn't able to go to the gym or make healthy meals or meal prep. Like, how am I going to get back into that? Consistency can support that. It makes it easier to get back into that after a break. Perfection is going to create the pressure. That's what's going to make it really, really difficult. The pressure is going to lead to burnout. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of this. And then burnout ends habits, those supportive ones that you're wanting to integrate. And it's actually going to fuel the unsupportive habits, the habits that aren't going to be super helpful for us. Consistency, on the other hand, that is built on support and simplicity. Like, let's make this so simple, stupid simple that you think, man, I could do more than that. Like, I'm just putting on the tennis shoes. Like, that's it. I could do more than that. Yeah, you could. But right now we just have to get used to putting on the tennis shoes. We have to make it so simple. And we also have to have the support and the systems in place so that it's easy for you to continue to build on. One of the most powerful ideas when it comes to habits and behavior change, and something that I see play out all the time with moms, my clients, is automaticity, making things automatic. So automaticity means a habit becomes something that you do, not something that you decide, that you have to actively think about. Like, okay, I have to actively think about meal prepping on Sundays, or I have to actively think about going to the grocery store on Fridays or going to the gym at this time on this day. It's just a habit that becomes something you do. Okay, after work on Wednesdays, I have my gym bag already in the car. I just go to the gym and then I head home, right? And there's a lot more built into that. Like, who's going to watch your baby? Who's going to pick up the kids? Who's going to take them to practice? And who's going to prep dinner? Like, there's a lot that goes into that. But when we start to think these things through and it starts to become automatic, that's when it becomes very easy. The goal isn't more motivation, because motivation is going to change. Motivation is going to go up and down. So if you think of very successful people, it can be in any type of space. They're not motivated all the time. They're not motivated 100% of the time, every single day, saying, yes, I want to do this. Like, think of athletes, professional athletes who are moms. They're not going to be super motivated 100% of the time because there's a lot going on. Motivation is going to go up and go down. So we have to be able to be flexible with that motivation. We can't rely on motivation. It's very unreliable, because if I relied on my motivation, I'm not going to be successful in what I want to reach. So people may think, and I hear it all the time, Val, oh my gosh, you're so motivated. You're so motivated. And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't want to meal prep. I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym, but it's just part of my routine, and I make it so easy that it's something that I just do. It's automatic. The goal is making fewer decisions. Mama, I know we want to make we don't want to make any decisions personally. I'm sick of making decisions, but we have to, right? But we're going to make fewer decisions when we can really get things and habits and behaviors in an automatic state. Automaticity. Things are automatic. It's just something that you do. It's not something that you're actively having to think about every single time. Now, when you're integrating a new habit, you're going to have to think about it. We have to think about things and what's going to trigger us and remind us to be able to do it. What are we going to do when we have high motivation? What are we going to do when we have low motivation? Because it's new. And so we're not going to have these neural pathways that are just going to make it automatic. But the more you do it, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not a 60-minute workout Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's just moving your body Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's the behavior that you're continuing. That becomes automatic. Also, when a habit is attached to something that you already do, that already exists in your busy day, like before work, after brushing your teeth, during nap time, right after school drop off, right after you put the kids to bed, it requires less mental energy. So that's where habit stacking comes in. Now, last year, at the beginning of the year, I have a lot of habit episodes. So go back to last year and listen to episode 12, 14, 16. You're going to see all of those habit videos where I'm actually talking about the right mindset for habit change, the B equals MAP formula, the 4 laws of behavior change, where I really dive into this deeper. And so if you haven't listened to those episodes, go back, listen to episode 12, 14, 16, so that you can get that and then come back to this episode or listen to it again to be able to really support what you're doing and make it that much easier. So it all makes sense. So habit stacking is just stacking a new behavior with one that you already do. Let's make it easy. Let's stack those two things. So you don't have to make all of these decisions and your brain isn't constantly thinking that's exhausting. For moms, mental energy is often the biggest barrier. I don't have the capacity. My mental energy is shot. It's gone. So we want to make things easy. Another reason habits don't stick has nothing to do with motivation. It's low energy. If you are under eating, you're not eating enough. You're not eating a balanced breakfast, a balanced lunch, a balanced dinner. You're not supporting your exercise with the fuel that it needs. If you're skipping meals, if you're sleeping poorly. Now, I'm not talking about waking up when your kid wakes up in the middle of the night. I'm talking about scrolling and watching Netflix too late, right? Things that we can control, running on stress, all of these things. If we're doing that, your nervous system is maxed out. Asking your body just to be more disciplined and to have that willpower on top of that isn't supportive. It's exhausting. And it's going to be that much easier for you not to stick to the new behavior, not for you not to stick to the habit of that you're trying to build. So consistency is built on capacity. and capacity. It comes from nourishment. It comes from rest, and it comes from realistic expectations. So let's set those realistic expectations. Let's make it super easy for ourselves and then build up from there. That is where we're really going to be successful. Healthy habits are more likely to stick when they're simple, they're flexible. That's really important, mamas. We got to be flexible. That can be difficult, I know. And they're repeatable. Can we repeat this? And if it's not working out, how can we change it to be more successful? Do we need to have a different reminder? Do we need to change the routine a bit? Instead of asking, what's the perfect routine? What's the perfect routine? Try asking, what is the easiest version of this that I can repeat? So maybe you think of that perfect routine, like this is where I want to be someday. Now let's go backwards from there, okay? What's the easiest version of this that I want to get to someday? What is the easiest version of this that I can repeat? Right now, getting up at 5 and going to the gym sounds like hell. I don't know if I can stick with that. Maybe a couple of times. But you know what's a lot easier? Getting up and going into the living room. That is so much easier than having to get the car keys, put on a jacket, go in the car, drive. Like you think of all those steps that you have to do to get there. That's going to make it difficult. So again, what is the routine that you want to reach? I mean, it could be in a year, it could be 2 years, 5 years. What is that perfect routine? And you may get there sooner than you think. But from that perfect routine, we have to work backwards. What is the easiest version of this that I can repeat? That I can repeat Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or every single day. Water before your coffee. Things that are so easy. So other examples can be one balanced meal instead of a full overhaul of like, okay, hey, it's January, it's the new year. We're not eating out ever again. We're going to make all of our meals from home. Holy shit, that's a lot of work. I'm exhausted. I don't have the time. Now I have to clean all these dishes. No, let's just do one balanced meal. Let's just do one balanced meal. And that one balanced meal doesn't have to be this perfect meal either. It can even be like a frozen meal that you add veggies to. It doesn't have to be this perfect thing. So one balanced meal instead of a full overhaul, a short walk instead of a long workout, a few minutes of movement instead of none. And that movement can be things that I teach you in the program. In my 8-week group coaching program in week 1, we talk about diaphragmatic breathing and stability breathing. Things that we have to practice before we add the movement in. Because if we don't master that, if we don't master the stability breathing and how to connect with our body and our nervous system, it's going to be really hard to do that when we're adding load. So instead of thinking, man, I have to do this intense workout, I'm going to do the breathing exercises that really connect my core, my pelvic floor, and my entire body, that to help strengthen, but also to help relax. That's what I'm going to do. That counts. So these small actions are going to create momentum, and momentum builds confidence, and then it's going to build on top of one another. Now, I see a few patterns that come up again and again, and so I want to talk about this. Trying to change everything all at once, especially at the beginning of the year, trying to change everything all at once. I know it can be difficult not to do that at the beginning of the year, but if you're starting to plan things and you're getting really excited, try to take a step back. We don't want to change everything at once. That's going to make things a lot harder. Waiting for the perfect time. There's no perfect time. If you're waiting for the perfect time, you're going to be waiting a long time. And that's what I hear from moms who join my 8-week group coaching program. Like, man, I wish I just would have joined it sooner. I don't know why I didn't. Why did I keep pushing it off? And a lot of times it's because we feel like we have to put ourselves last, or that it's going to take this extra time. Or there's so many other barriers that come in, but we can't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is right now. Quitting after one missed day. Don't do that. Like, oh man, I didn't make it to the gym today. I quit. I'm done. That's that all or nothing thinking speaking. And we don't want to do that, because that one day isn't going to make or break your health and your strength or anything like that. Like, okay, you didn't work out today. That's fine. Let's go tomorrow. What is it going to look like tomorrow with everything going on? Believing consistency means never stopping. That's not the idea either. None of these are going to lead to sustainable change. Returning gently and consistently, that is what matters. Showing up imperfectly, that is what matters. So here's the takeaway I want you to leave with today. Consistency is not about doing more. It's about doing what fits and doing it again and being flexible with it. You don't need more willpower. You don't need this perfect plan. You need habits that work with your life as a mom. And guess what, mama? That's going to change when you have another baby, as the kids get older, as they go to school. Like, it's always going to change. And when habits feel automatic, not forced, everything changes. And it's so awesome. So I want you to remember that consistency is not about doing more. Okay. So one small thing that can help you stay consistent with the behaviors, the habits that you're implementing into your routine. If this episode resonated with you and you're craving more structure, more support, this consistency first approach is exactly what I teach inside my Strong, Nourished, and Energized Mom Method program. This is my 8-week group coaching program, and it's starting this month in January. And inside the program, we focus on building habits around nutrition, movement, recovery that actually fits mom life and that you can take with you through decades to come. What I teach in the program isn't just things that are going to be that you do within the first 2 years after having your baby. These are things that you're going to repeat. These are things that you're going to do 10 years after having your baby. These are things that you're going to be wanting to focus on when you're going into perimenopause, postmenopause, of course, with some adjustments as we reach those different stages. But these are habits that you're going to take with you forever. And it's going to be without perfection or extra pressure. So you can learn more by going to wellnessbyval.com/program. The link is also in the show notes. And if this episode helped you reframe consistency, share it with another mom who needs the reminder to slow down and remember that steady really does work. All right, mama, stay strong, stay nourished, and I'll talk to you next week. Hey mama, I hope you loved today's episode. If you got something out of it or simply enjoyed listening, would you please take 30 seconds to share it with another mom who could use the support? And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you could leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. It truly means the world to me, and it helps the show reach more amazing moms like you. All right, time to go chase my toddler around. Stay strong and nourished, and I'll be back on Monday with another episode. Talk soon.